The Invest in Her podcast is brought to you in part by Wells Fargo Bank. Hi, I'm Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation. I'm also the podcast host of Invest in Her and an award-winning producer, author, and TEDx speaker. Our show, Invest in Her, features phenomenal female founders and funders. As you know, women receive less than 2% of venture capital funding. Our series is about accelerating the funding of women by connecting them to funding resources. Let's meet today's guest. Welcome to this week's episode of Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation and the producer of the new movie, Show Her the Money. We are out there on screenings around the world, and on that tour, I was so fortunate to meet our next guest. She's in London today with us. Her name is Dr. Kristen Weatherby, and she is the founder of Breakthrough Labs. Welcome to the show, Kristen. How are you?
I'm great, Catherine. I'm so thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah. Wow. Our screening in London was on fire. We were just talking about this, right?
It was fantastic. There was such energy in the room. It was a great panel. We had such good discussions. And I think everybody came away energized and wanting to do something about this issue of getting more women into investment and more women investing in other women.
100%. And I'm so glad that you and I are aligned on that with your amazing Breakthrough Labs that is helping entrepreneurs to, break through, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Get funding,
exactly.
Get education, get connections, resources. We need that. This is what women entrepreneurs need. And I love that you just shared with me that you now have a community that members can join so that they have that community and support. So let's talk about that. What's that look like?
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about that. I mean, I'm a researcher at heart. You kind of can't get away from that. And so when I was working with startups, and I have a background in education technology, and I started working with all these ed tech startups on accelerators. And I realized that when I would go to networking events or I would go to pitch events or demo days, a lot of times they're in the evenings on a school night in London. And so if you have a family and you live outside of London, this really kind of prohibits you from participating in some of these events. And so I started Breakthrough Labs when I started digging into the research that we all know about how few female founders get funded. And I started doing my own research, interviewing women as to their experiences pitching for funding and what their good, bad, and ugly experiences. And the more I heard about how women were treated in this country, and I know it's not unique to the UK, the more angry I got and the more I thought, okay, I haven't done this before. I've spent my career in ed tech and as a researcher, but I felt like I had to do something about it. And one of the key pieces of research that was done in the UK said that there's, 3 things that we need to do to help more women become entrepreneurs. One is give them more money. Obviously. One is to provide them with local networks and support so that they can kind of look to the left and look to the right and see another woman that looks like them and that, is on their same journey. And the third thing is to provide childcare and support for women. So I thought I can tackle this network thing, but I can do it in a way that it provides women with a community that's there for them. So it's permanent. It's not something that's like, one cohort of an accelerator or a one-off networking drink or something like that. It's something they can keep coming back to also in their own time. So they can come and join live webinars or investor meetups or whatever demo days and things that we have online, but they can also watch the learning and access it in their own time. They can contact other members in their own time, and they don't have to worry about trying to fit everything in to, and find babysitters and travel into London and do whatever that's very difficult with their lives. So I really wanted to give more women access.
I love that. And, you certainly are an authority to bring this community to light, because 25-year career in leadership with such big companies as Microsoft, University College London, and then you and I were just talking about OECD, this Paris think tank that you were talking about that you worked with. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, that is a big organization that supports member countries, and it supports them in all sorts of policy levels. So I worked on the education front, and I still do. I work on education technology projects with them because I just can't resist it, frankly. And it's working to kind of make the world a better place, but you're working for government. So I really get into the government policy around this as well, around entrepreneurship. And now we have a new government in the United Kingdom. We have a Labour government for the first time since 2010. And so it's actually a really exciting time to think how we can, all the women who are working to improve things for women investors and women entrepreneurs, how can we change policy? How can we make some of these things happen to support more women building businesses and getting our ideas out there?
And I love that you have that background. I think that brings so much to the table. And you're right. There's so much that has to change, even policy-wise, to help perpetuate this. In California, they just passed a bill this past year that's going to hold venture capital funds accountable to where that money is going, so that we can see that they're not giving money to overlooked communities, and that can be held accountable for that. And so policies are super important. And I think that background of work you have, everything from Microsoft to OECD to the college university level, is you bring so much to the community with all of that background. And
thank you.
Yeah, seriously. And then you're right. People need a community to hang out in. Tell me more about Breakthrough Labs, because people in your community will have access, the entrepreneurs, to Breakthrough Labs, right? So tell us what Breakthrough Labs is, because I know that, you're very focused on femtech with that entity, right?
Yeah, so we support female founders of fairly early stage tech startups. So before Series A. I find in the UK that there's more, and a lot of places around the world, there's more support for scale-ups because there's more money in that sometimes. But it's these early stage women who really need more support. And because they don't have a lot of money, there's not a lot of people in that game.
And it really could be way more upside investing in that pre-seed, because the growth opportunity is more than when they've already gotten to Series A, right? It's more of a crapshoot, but it's also, you could end up making 100 times your money. I mean, so, hey, it might be a crapshoot that is worthwhile, especially if it's something you believe in and somebody has like an expertise like you do in femtech and can really spot an amazing idea.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And so what I try to do with Breakthrough Labs, and what we try to do as an organization, is bring together the right people and the learning and connections that women need at this kind of early stage. So we prepare them, if they're looking for funding and equity fundraising, then we help prepare them and provide connections with an investment partner that helps them. Like, for example, we have pitch deck review sessions and like office hours with investors. So that's really helpful for founders at early stages. We have a big webinar series where we offer kind of skills-based webinars, because as an early founder, I mean, I'm experiencing this as well as a solo entrepreneur for a long time. You have to do everything at once, and you don't know how to do a lot of the things that you have to do.
I think
you're not very good at them.
And I think the most successful companies align with something like what you're doing with Breakthrough Labs, because then they can put the focus on what they're really good at and let other people do what they're not good at, what they don't like doing, and what those people like doing and they are good at. This is what makes a great team, right? This is usually what makes a successful business, is when somebody's not trying to do everything themselves.
Exactly. The other thing, I mean, as you know, new companies have small teams because there's no money. And so oftentimes early stage founders look for advisors to sit on an advisory board in their company. They don't know how to pay them. They don't know how to find them. They end up giving away equity, which is never great when, there's 0.5% equity here and there on their cap table going to advisors. And so we've partnered with big companies to provide senior leaders as advisors for women's startups for free for a year. So that is another program that we offer. And then we also have a coach in residence who works on things like founder well-being and personal development as a founder, the things that kind of get pushed to the side when you're so busy running at 1,000,000 miles an hour trying to get your business started. We have coaching sessions monthly with our coach in residence. So we've really tried to provide founders with what we think and what the research shows they need now to help make their businesses a success.
And how do they participate? Is there a charge to participate, or is there an equity stake to participate? Like, what does it take for a femtech startup to be part of Breakthrough Labs?
Yeah, so there is a membership fee, but we've tried to really make it easy to access again for women. So there's 3 different levels depending on which parts of the programs they want to take part in. But basically, if you think about this is the way I looked at it. If you go to a networking event in London these days for women entrepreneurs, it costs on average about 30 to 36 pounds. So that's like $40 that you're paying just to get in the door. Then you probably have to buy a drink. You probably had transport to get there. So we're charging, £15 a month basically. And if you, for our lowest level, so it's, half the price of one networking drink event. And that gets you a month. And if you subscribe for the year, it's less. So we're really trying to make it something that, founders of tech businesses can access even at very early stages.
And would it be accessible to only femtech in UK or outside of the country?
Yeah, it's global because it's asynchronous. Because it can be asynchronous, really. We try to do live events because I'm American, even though I live in the UK, I'm American, and I am really always keeping an eye on what's happening in the US as well. So we try to do a lot of our webinars in the kind of later afternoon time. So if you want to join live and you're in the US, you can. And then we try to, everything's recorded. So if you can't join live, you can view it. So really anyone can access this from anywhere.
I love that. Now, is that the community or the Breakthrough Labs or both?
So Breakthrough Labs is the online community, and we also we started last year with an accelerator. So the accelerator, I think, will come back in the future. But what happened with the accelerator, which was fantastic learning for me since I'd worked on a lot of accelerators, it went really well. It was great. But what prompted the launch of the community was that when I opened up applications for the second cohort of the accelerator, I got so much interest from startups in other countries, and I thought, I just don't want to limit this to people that live in this kind of local area outside London. I want to be able to help as many women as I can.
Oh, I love that. So they kind of coexist but complement each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can you share some success stories of entrepreneurs that have worked with Breakthrough Labs, maybe from your accelerator?
Yeah. So I had some really great startups in the first cohort of the accelerator. Everything from education technology to health tech to circular marketplaces for children's stuff. So like all the big expensive stuff you get when you have a baby and then they outgrow it in 6 months and you have to buy more big expensive stuff. So I had 4 of the 10 founders. Well, we had a pitch day at the end where they pitched to a panel of investors, and we held it at a university in London. And 4 of the founders that pitched went on to either close their round or go to pitch at another organization. So they pitched for angel networks that were present at that event that they didn't know ahead of time. They got into other VC level programs. So it was a great, great success. And some of the ideas that I'm so inspired by these women because some of the ideas that they come up with, I just really wonder how they've even thought of it. I mean, one of our founders has a company called Matrix Health and Care that is looking to rethink the speculum, that terrible torture device that we all have to experience when we go in for a gynecological exam. And she's come up with something that's completely different and allows women to self-examine themselves with a clinician, on the other side of the curtain. So it'll hopefully get more people to go in and actually get the medical care that they need because they're not so uncomfortable or in pain.
Yeah, this is what I mean by, I did a TED Talk called Fund Women Save the World. And it's about people tend to invest in people they identify with. Now, if you told a man about that invention, he'd probably be like, yeah, I don't think we need that. I'm not investing in that. But women would get that. They would instantly get that. And so that's why we need more women investing, right? We need more women investing to decide what are the future products and services that we see, especially in women's health care. And that was a perfect example.
Yeah.
And I know,
it's amazing. It's one of the things when I interviewed women and asking about their experiences pitching for funding, a lot of the negative experiences were exactly what you say. They would pitch to a man who was much older than them, most likely. They'd be the only woman in the room. I heard that over and over again, the only woman in the room. And the male investors would be so dismissive, like, oh, that's a product for my wife. I'm not interested in that. I don't understand. And it's just so demoralizing.
Which is why the wives need to be investing too.
Yes.
So if you're out there listening, ladies, you can make the decision too where your money's going.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. We have to break through that, years and years of culture of the man decides what the investments are for both of you. And that's just got to go. Women have to have an input in what are the future products and services to serve ourselves and to create wealth amongst women. And, it just blossoms into so many things. The products and services we see, the level of wealth of women, and women, of course, are coming into more, money than ever in history. So what are we going to do with it? We have to have women. It's why we made the film Show Her the Money, to have more women understand what is venture capital, why is it important to our future, how exciting it is to meet these women with, like you said, these incredible innovations that usually just blow us away. I feel the same way you do. I'm always like, oh my God, how did you think of this?
Yes.
I met a woman the other day who's created jewelry that, you push a button and you can contact, if you've fallen down, if you need, emergency service or you're being mugged or whatever. She's like, yeah, you don't have time to go on an app and put it, push it on your phone. So it looks like a piece of jewelry. And then you just push the button on the back of it. And I thought, I think that's genius,
Yeah.
So women are smart. They're brilliant. They're in every city in the world. I've met them all over the country, all over the world on our Show Her the Money movie tour. And I tell you, it's an exciting arena to step into, isn't it? And I love the work that you're doing with Breakthrough Labs. It's so necessary to build community wherever we are. And so thank you for the work that you're doing. How, Kristen, would they find you?
So it's really easy. Just either go to Breakthrough Labs on LinkedIn or find me on LinkedIn. But our website is www.breakthroughlabs.net. So very easy. All the information about the community and how to join and the membership levels, it's all right there. So very simple.
Okay, breakthroughlabs.net. That's easy.
Yes.
Also wanted to mention that you're a scout for this ADA Ventures.
Yeah.
Since they do funding for diverse founders, I just wanted you to mention that for a moment too. It's ADA
Absolutely.
Ventures.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a fairly small fund, small relatively speaking. Honestly, I think their second fund now is about £53 million. So not, small, but they do try to search for ideas that are going to change the world. And they look at three different, and they invest early. So they like to invest in pre-seed tech. They want products that are going to address things like changing the workforce, health, and climate equity. So that's what they really look for. So they want to solve the world's biggest problems with tech, and they want diverse founders to be able to do it. So they have this great network of scouts because they're looking for pre-seed. They have 100 of us around the UK who are kind of looking in the weeds, so to speak, for the next really innovative idea. And they provide a lot of professional development as well, which is why I got involved. Because as you say, I'm a researcher, I've worked in policy, I've worked in tech, but I'm not an investor yet. And I really felt like I needed that kind of financial education myself. And it's been fantastic. They've provided a lot of training, and they have a great community of scouts. So we have our own little WhatsApp group, and they provide like quarterly meetings where they go through pitch decks and we learn what they're looking for. And I've learned so much. It's really fun, actually.
That's great. I think I can help you with deal flow there.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant.
And I love, on our podcast, we like to give resources. So, if it's diverse founders out there with unique game-changing ideas in tech, ADA Ventures should be on their radar. And thanks for sharing that with us. So I take it you're on LinkedIn?
I'm on LinkedIn. Absolutely.
So Dr. Kristen, that's with a K. And then if you're just listening and watching, it is Weatherby, just like it sounds, like the weather and BY. So check out Kristen on LinkedIn. And of course, you can find me, Catherine Gray, on there as well. Gray with an A, Catherine with a C. And we really love providing resources on our show every week. So, Dr. Kristen, thank you so much for sharing about Breakthrough Labs. Love the community that you're building for women all over the world. It's amazing. And also, I want to mention that we also have resources on our movie site, which is showherthemoneymovie.com, as well as my business site, which is She Angel Investors. We have a course on there called 6 Ways to Fund Your Business, because there are many ways other than venture capital and angel investing to start your business. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Remember to invest in her. Thank you, Dr. Kristen, for being a great guest. Make it a great week, everybody.